Greetings friends, welcome to another video on this YouTube channel. It has been a couple of days or even weeks since the last publication here, since the last video, and today, well, for a few weeks now, I have been doing something really exciting. It's really a unique use case, and I find it really interesting. So I just decided to share it with you, right? Of course, we're about to talk today about Veeam backup and replication. In this case, we will even use the PowerShell, and we will combine all of that with PowerCLI and combine all the VMware and all the power of Veeam all together. So you can just get around this specific use case. So what is this specific use case? Allow me to start sharing, well, not sharing, just to show you what I'm talking about here. So let me go into my browser, and I'm talking about Azure VMware Solution. So on this specific case that I'm talking about, it's required, it's needed. So this specific customer, this specific use case, it's migrating workloads to Azure VMware Solution, which is of course one of the best decisions that you can make. Not just Azure VMware Solution, but running VMware on top of Azure, AWS, Google, and other clouds. Because at the end, you just keep the know-how. You keep, of course, the performance. It's not going to perform the same on Azure VM that is going to perform an VM on top of Azure on VMware Solution. You know, it will be really predictable. It will be pretty much similar or even better than your workload running on-prem, of course. So it's just really night and day. Plus, of course, the migration over. You can just leverage tools like HCCX or like Veeam Replica, for example, or like any other product. However, and that's the stuff, right? You can just migrate from one place to the other. However, if I go back here into the VMware, into the VMware website, into the KB, why am I showing you here the virtual hardware? I'm showing that to you. So let's come back into the Azure, because at the moment, and this might change in 3 months, more or less, at the moment, Azure VMware Solution, it's running ESXi 6.7. It's kind of like the patch number 5 over here, vCenter 6.7, vCenter 6.7, and so on. But the most important stuff, right, like it's ESXi 6.7. So this means that if customer or if this specific use case, are trying to migrate either using HCX or either using Veeam or using any other single tool, you will find that if you have ESXi 6.7, if you have this in on this source where you have all your VMs before you migrate into VMware, into Azure VMware Solution, then it's okay, because you might have version 15 of the virtual hardware, right? So that's great. You can migrate from your on-prem 6.7 into Azure VMware Solution, which of course is virtual hardware 15 as well. Now, what happens if the customer, if the use case in general, it has already upgraded to ESXi 6.7 or update 1 or even update 2 or update 3, and it has upgraded as well, because remember, one thing is upgrading just the ESXi and the other is upgrading the virtual hardware of the VMs, which usually you tend to do it as a part of the remediation, as a part of the lifecycle manager, and so on. What it happens is that, of course, as soon as you just upgrade the virtual hardware, imagine on ESXi 7, you will be on virtual hardware version 17 or 18 or 19, and this you will not be able to run HCX to Azure VMware Solution. You will not be able to do any Veeam kind of replication. Nothing. It will work right away. So of course, there are a couple of other KBs on the VMware website where they tackle about around this whole kind of downgrade the virtual hardware of the VM. There are a few methods. If you go even deeper on the community, you might find that you can just start editing the VMX and playing with the UIDs on the VMDKs as well and so on, which is of course not supported by VMware. That is absolutely clear everywhere where you take a look. But now there is another supported way that VMware recommends, which is on the new ESXi, meaning on the ESXi where you have the lowest virtual hardware version, you can create a new VMX, meaning a new VM, CPU, RAM, networking, whatever you would really want, and take the VMDK from the other place and just present it kind of like add virtual disk, and from there everything will work right away. That means that if we kind of just put the VMDK somehow on the Azure VMware Solution for this specific use case, that will work. That is where Veeam came to kind of rescue the day. Because of course you could just take the whole VMDK. Imagine that you have 500 VMs or a couple of thousands, then grab the VMDKs of those, make a copy into the Azure VMware Solution and then attach it into it. That will be really long downtime, especially if it's like a big VM. Imagine that you need to shut it down the VM to copy the VMDK properly, consistently. You will need to shut it down the VM, then copy using PowerCLI, whatever you want, copy the VMDK from one place to the Azure VMware Solution, which it might take a long time. I guess that at that point you will have even like direct connection or something, but again, the downtime of migrating 10 terabytes VM from one place to the other, it will take too much time, at least to my opinion. So what you can do with Veeam, it is quite clever actually. It's of course you have your running VMs on production on this ESXi 6.7 or even below, another version, right? On ESXi 7.0 or above, like as 7.0 up to 1, 2, or 3, you will do a Veeam backup with the running VM incrementals. You should have the repository already on the Azure VMware Solution, right? So the backup every day, the first time will take some time, but it's still production. You are not affecting, the running VM. It takes some time to do the first full, but then the incrementals are really fast. Now that you have on Azure VMware Solution, that you have already the backups, then is when we're going to do this magic, right? So if I show you here the screenshot, you can just pick any single VM, and then you can just do this one, for example, okay. And now you can do right click on here and use the restore virtual disks. So this restore virtual disk, what it will do, let's see if this doesn't get stuck. Before it got stuck, it might be my repository before. What this will do is of course grab from that backup, from that Veeam backup, there you go. From that Veeam backup, it will show the number, the different disks. You might have 1, 2, 10. You will see them here. Actually as well with the SCSI ID, so 00, 01, 02, 10, etc., and also the data store. Now you can just go over here and you can select, for example, you want to restore, kind of inject this disk on the new VM using thin, using thick, and so on and so forth. You can as well leverage a proxy, which is already on Azure VMware Solution. So you know what I mean already, right? Everything which was on-prem, you now have a backup, even an incremental backup on Azure VMware Solution, and you trigger this disk mapping into that other VM, everything from Azure. So this will take really low time, and it will just really fly all of this. So this is magical. Okay, so you can see that you can even put another name if you want. Finally, you can even trigger a secure restore for malware, and you click finish. All of this is good. You can do this with Veeam. It's great on the console. But what about, I mean, what about if you tell me, okay, Jorge, but we have, 5,000 VMs to migrate this, or even 500. You are not going to do one by one here on the GUI. It might take so much time. That is where Veeam PowerShell it's going to save the day again. First is the technology that we can do incrementals into Azure VMware Solution, and finally leverage this virtual disk restore. And the other will be to leverage the PowerShell. So the specific PowerShell to trigger all of those, to trigger that same console that you have seen, it's this one, is start VDR virtual disk restore. And then you have here some information about the restore point, the virtual device mapping. So you just need to follow quite a bit these steps. These a few examples over here. And finally, you will be able to trigger that in a native format. So I think all of this might be good, but I just put all together into a script where the script asks you about which VM you want to migrate from on-prem into the Azure VMware Solution, knowing and hoping that you have already have the backup and the incrementals. So what it does, what the script does, it's quite simple. I'll show you. So if I go here, and now I go, here. Okay, so here you can see that I have 4 screens, right? In these 4 screens, on the top left, I have my VM, which is an Nginx with a quick website over there. On the top right, I have my Veeam backup and replication, the console just with the tasks that are running at the moment. On the bottom left, we do have like a PowerShell where I'm going to run the script that I'm going to attach here on the description. So you can just grab it from GitHub. And finally, on the bottom right, you will see here normal ping. So we see kind of the downtime between all of that. So what does this script does, right? So the script, as you can see, that's my website. It's running, which is great. It has my ransomware protection. That's good. Let's put here a quick ping. So the ping is there, it's up and running. Let's put here the stopwatch, so you see that I'm not doing any cheat. The script, which is attached, is now going to ask you for a name of a VM. It's going to gracefully shutting down the VM using PowerShell. And now it's going to take the CPU and RAM configuration and the network MAC and everything into the other ESXi, the target ESXi, which in this case is Azure VMware Solution. And from there, it's going to inject the drives from the latest backup point in time. It's going to inject doing all of that thing that I showed you manually. It's going to do all of that for you on Azure VMware Solution. As you can see, the VM is already, of course, shut it down on the source. Thanks to the PowerShell, it's telling me here existing VM disk on that target VM is going to be replaced. I don't have any disks, right? Because as a part of the script, it has already created a new dummy VM on the other side on that ESXi with Virtual Hardware 15, ESXi 6.7. Now, the injection of the drives have started, and we can see it on the Veeam console. So if we take a quick look on here, as you can see, I'm not going to accelerate any process with a stopwatch. So we will be here together until this finishes. So what it's doing at the moment is just grabbing the latest point in time, and through using that latest point in time, it's going to now preparing the virtual disks, maybe 1, 2, 10, all of that. The script includes it already over a loop. So it kind of just creates the tree, the mapping of the disks, and then what is doing Veeam is looking for those disks. It's using a proxy which is in Azure on Azure VMware Solution, meaning that because the repository and this proxy is on Azure VMware Solution or on that ESXi 6.7, it's going to be really, really fast, and it's going to use the hot add method. On my case, it's a small Nginx. what the script has done is has created Nginx 5 new on the other side, with the same CPU count, with the same RAM count, with the same network adapters. It does migrate the Mac, but I've just used the latest version of the way of bringing the VMX NEC 3 and the Mac to the ESXi 6.7. So hopefully that will work for you. If not, ping VMware on that case, because that is more on the VMware side, using the Power CLI. Finally, what this script does, once again, is just injecting restore that VMDK, adding it into that VM already. So it's doing it on a proper way. You do not need to go into the other vCenter and then attach a new drive or anything like that. It's Veeam will inject the disk, put the VMDK on the target repository or on the target data store, and it's going to edit the VMX and everything for the VM for you. You don't need to worry about anything. It's doing it at around 93 megabytes per sec, which it is quite good speed. But of course, that it will all depend on the repository that you put on Azure VMware Solution. That will have been vSAN, for example, that will be really, really fast. If you on Azure VMware Solution put something like an NFS or even object, the speed might be limited to, what is it for object storage? It's around 80 megabytes per sec, more or less. And for the Azure files, it might be a bit more. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that you should try to put the best backup repository if you are going to treat this as a migration sort of tool to get the workaround for the virtual hardware. You should try to treat that repository as fast as you can. So this is good. It's already restoring quite a lot, 13.7 gigabytes. The ping still down, so we have a downtime at the moment of 4 minutes more or less for this 20 gigabytes VM over my Nginx. But I think it's going to finish soon, because as we can see, the VM is just 20 gig, and I guess that the operating system, it does not have the 20 gigabytes utilized, so it should be a bit less. But hopefully we'll finish soon. So as I mentioned before, this script to do this specific script that you can see, the VM migration .ps1, that it's here on the description. You can grab it and edit it to your taste. It finished because at the end it's 16.4 gigabytes, and also as a part of the script, I just say to Veeam, hey, you know what? Also power the VM on the other side. Okay, so it's going to disconnect from the VCCA. That's great, and from Veeam. And actually, my ping of the VM, it's already here, and my application, my Nginx, it's here, up and running without any problem. And the application, it's working. 5 minutes of downtime. I consider this really, really good for, once again, being not a migration, not a replication, to be really an injection from the backup repository. So if I show you here on VMware, you can see that my Nginx 005 is off and my new Nginx 005 is on, and it has that 20 gig disk that Veeam has injected into it. And also I didn't need to do anything on VMware at all. Everything has been 100% automated. So that is everything for today. I know it's a specific use case, and I know that I know already that a few use cases, a few customers that are looking into migrate into Azure VMware Solution, and they have on-prem the ESXi 7.0, meaning a higher version than what is Azure VMware Solution. They will need to do something similar to this. So the video today was really to show you the art of the possible, to show you that Veeam has the secret sauce of doing that already, and showing it to you the step forward with leveraging, in this case, PowerShell plus Power CLI from VMware all together on one single script, the best of of walls. So I hope you like it. If that's so, please leave some comments as per usual you do. Give some thumbs up into the video, maybe share it. And if you know somebody who is thinking to migrate to Azure VMware Solution, please bear in mind that virtual hardware compatibility, which again, I think it will disappear as soon as Azure VMware Solution it's going to get up to date into 7.0 update 3, because that will be the latest one that it is today as at the time I recorded the video. Without any further ado, thanks for watching and hope to see you very soon. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.